The best way to clean your filter socks is to figure out a way to not have filter socks to clean. That's my next project, whether it's the Clarisy filter or roller mat or you're using the polyfill stuff. It's terrible, and if you can figure out a way not to do it, that's the way to do it. But as you know, reefing ain't easy, so I'm going to go over, some different ways to clean your socks. You can just use the washer machine, wash them a bunch, use bleach. You can try using the dishwasher. You can soak them in a bucket with bleach water, let them sit for a long time, and then wash them out. But in my opinion, if you have a power washer or can get one, the best way is going to be power washing. Not necessarily that it cleans them the best, but I feel like it's the cleanest in terms of you don't want this stuff in your dishwasher. You don't want this stuff in your washer machine. It is disgusting. Especially if you're like me, I have a ton of filter socks. I swap them out, put them in a 5-gallon bucket, shut the lid, and then it just sits there. And who knows what it's growing? Bacteria, mold, all kinds of gross stuff. You can see some of these are like black. They're disgusting. So I'm just going to go over exactly how I did it this time, and it's a little bit overkill, but in my opinion, it really cleans them, and it doesn't necessarily dirty up your washing machine, and I feel like these are safe to reuse on my tank. So first thing I do is, as you can see, I was just flipping them all inside out because a lot of that dirt, grime, and a lot of times I will suck out detritus into my filter sock, and it just sits there, a lot of sand or broken rock. So flip them inside out, and then I wash them with the power washer, as you can see here, and I do one side at a time. What's nice about doing it on concrete, especially if you have a driveway that's sloped like mine, is the water kind of goes in one direction and the concrete actually grips the felt of the sock. So when you're washing them, it doesn't just blast them away and push them away. If you were doing this on concrete that was really slick and smooth, I imagine it would want to roll away. But you can see here, I'm just using my feet and I'm giving them another rinse on the other side. And then on the very last pass, when I come back, I'm actually going to try to clean the head of the sock, the actual circle part. And that's the hardest part. Now, a couple things when you do this, you're going to probably, like me, want to shower right afterwards. I immediately have to wash these clothes. It's pretty gross. The water is going to splash up on you, and it's just part of cleaning them. So prepare to get wet. That's why I don't wear shoes, and it's pretty gross. This grime is going to fling up and get on you, but it's part of reefing. You can see though the two up top that are by that little pink toy for my daughter, those were done. I washed those first and then just put them there so you get a visualization. They look pretty clean right after you're done power washing. It is amazing how you can bring a 3-month-old gross grimy black sock back to pretty crystal clear, pristine white. Some of them do have a tinge of yellow, especially if this is the 3rd or 4th time you've done it, and the felt does kind of get a little loose and flake off. But for the most part, I've only actually washed these about 4 times and they seem to be holding up. I don't know how many times they'll be good for, but I'm not going to find out because I'm dedicated to figuring out the better way of not using filter socks, because this is one of my least favorite parts of reefing. Now, normally, this is all I do is just give them a good power wash, rinse them off, bring them back, and I call it good. Now, I was a little worried just because, these have been sitting in a 5-gallon bucket for a long time. Maybe there is some bacteria on there that I can't actually see, and I don't want it to harm my tank. So after I washed them this time, I actually put them in the washer, as you can see here. And you can see here they look pretty clean in the washer, and that's why I felt a lot safer about doing it, because if you put them when they're really, really gross in there, I feel like that stuff gets into your washer and then slowly creeps into your clothes, and it's just, in my personal opinion, gross. And if you're going to do that, you want a separate washer. But since they were, at least visually looked really clean, I threw them in the washer and then I put a bunch of bleach in there and I washed them. After I washed them, I rinsed about 4 or 5 times to where I couldn't smell the bleach anymore, because I definitely didn't want any bleach going into my aquarium. And I even took one extra step. It's probably not necessary, but I soaked them in 5-gallon buckets with RODI water. There's nothing in that water, so any kind of bleach or contaminants should dissolve in the water. So after I let them soak for about a day, I strung them out on a line just to let them drip dry, get a little bit of sunlight and wind before I put them on a table to let them dry completely. Now you can see this was a multi-day, long drawn out process, which just goes to show reefing ain't easy. But I will make a video on what I'm going to do to change to not use filter socks as well as my results. So see you next time.